It was yet another fine day on the Isle of Sodor, and James was making his way to Knapford with a passenger train. On his way there, he had to stop at Elsbridge for a guaranteed connection with Thomas's train to Alsborough. "Hey up, Thomas. How are you keeping, old son?" "Alright, I suppose. For one thing, I haven't had any Karens begging my crew to give their kids a footplate ride. And I was listening to an episode of Norfolk and Western 611's radio show from a few days ago, which I had initially missed." It was at that moment when James remembered something he had been meaning to tell Thomas all morning. He awkwardly stammered for a moment before the words finally came to him. "Come on! Out with it, James! I can't hang around all morning." "I'm sorry to tell you this, Thomas, but before we left the shed this morning, my crew were listening to a newer broadcast, and 611 was saying that she's stepping down as the host of her show." "You fucking what, M9? Are you fucking serious? She was the lifeblood of that show, and the only thing I bothered watching from that museum in Roanoke." "I agree about the lifeblood thing, but I wish I wasn't lying. In any case, I'm sorry to say that I can't stay to chat any longer. I must get these passengers to Knapford on time, you know." "Very well then. I guess I'll see you later, James." And with that being said, the NWR's number 5 puffed away with his coaches, and Thomas got underway soon after the fact. As the little blue E2 made his way along the line to Tidmouth, and eventually Alsborough, he had a lot of things on his mind. Later that night, after a busy day helping Duck, Oliver, and the Scottish twins, Thomas was all alone at Tidmouth, while the other Farquhar branch engines were sorting out their last few jobs for the night. As the NWR's number 1 sat waiting to fall asleep, 2 familiar yellow saddle tanks came creeping into the yard.
"Look, Ben! It's Thomas! I wonder if the crew were busy cleaning broken eggs off of him again."
"I'll have you know that Driver is smart enough to cook eggs in an actual frying pan, not on my boiler." Then he realised who he was talking to, and gasped. "Oh shit, not you!" "Listen here, you little shits. I had a rough day today, and I would prefer to get some sleep without having to deal with your stupid antics. And I certainly don't want to be reminded of that damn incident with the eggs."
All right, Mr. Grumpy. We were just joking."
"Yeah, keep telling yourself that. In any case, what the hell are you two doing here?"
"Our normal shed got damaged after yesterday's heavy rain, so it needs to be repaired. The Fat Controller said that we could stay here tonight.
"Well, that figures."
Anyway, we couldn't help noticing that you didn't look happy as we arrived. Penny for your thoughts?"
"Well, quite frankly, it was partly from you two showing up, and also because I was a bit shocked when James told me that J611's time on her current radio show is over."
"Great Scott! That's not what we were expecting at all."
"Same here, although I should have realised something was a bit fishy when Pensy T1 number 5550 started filling in for 611 as a so-called guest host more often than I expected. And it wasn't even 2 months ago when 5550 first showed up, so it's a bit overwhelming to see all the shit go down so quickly."
"Did the T1 ever say where 611 went?"
"No, she didn't. And from what I've heard, lots of other engines were pretty suspicious when rumours circulated about 611 being fired. I can't help wondering what's going on behind closed doors, even though I'll probably never find out."
"With all due respect, Thomas, I don't think we have any business knowing what's going on with these American engines in their personal lives. Especially since we don't know them personally."
Yes, I suppose that's a fair point. Wait a minute. Who are you? And what have you done with the real Bill?
"I am the real Bill, you dense bastard!" "Mate, didn't you realise Thomas was only joking?" No. I can't say I did."
So who's got egg on their face now, eh?
Ha ha, very funny. Are you planning to be the next Ben Elton or something?
I don't even know who that is.
Then consider yourself lucky. Fuck you, Ben! I'll have you know that Blackadder is a masterpiece, especially in Season 4. That'll be the day, you tasteless hack.
Give it a rest, you two! I would appreciate the lack of bickering before getting some sleep.
Oh, all right. As opposed to half left.
As I was going to say earlier, you made an unusually good point, Bill, when you said that thing about not needing to know what 611's personal life is like.
Well, when you've been working with Edward for as long as Ben and I have, you tend to pick up those sorts of profound statements. However, Edward mainly brought that one up in relation to wondering what was going on with Victorian Railway's R704, but it works just as well for you in the Norfolk and Western J class.
Indeed it does, Ben. Incidentally, I just realised something.
You forgot to switch the oven off?
No, that doesn't even make any sense.
Did you remember to affirm the Fat Controller's belief that ABBA isn't shit?
I didn't do that either.
Well, you're fucked.
In any case, what I had actually realised was that it's kind of in poor taste for the T1 to take over 611's job as the host. From what I've read, people are accusing 5550 of stabbing 611 in the back, partly based on the fact that she was the bridesmaid at 611's wedding. As for the groom, he was Pacific National DL47, and his best man was NR59.
Well, if 5550 really is a backstabber, then that's just horrible. As for DL47 and NR59, what have they got to do with this situation?
I'm not really sure. It's just another random thing I remembered. But for the time being, I might give 5550 a chance, even though the show simply will not be the same without 611. On a more positive note, and after I met James this morning, my driver found out that 611 has at least set up a new independent show of her own, so all hope is not lost.
That's good to hear. One wonders how the J will go as a single-handed sailor, so to speak.
Here's hoping she'll still be as successful as she was at Roanoke. Thomas could only agree. And on that note, the three tank engines continued chatting as James passed through Tidmouth with his last train of the day. Soon enough, Thomas, Bill and Ben had all fallen asleep ahead of another busy day. Next morning, as he took Annie and Clarabelle on a passenger run to Farquhar, Thomas was still occasionally dwelling over the sudden shake-up involving 611's show, but promised himself to not let it get him down as he went about his work.